So if I go to YouTube and oh, there we are. We're live on YouTube. That's wonderful.
Hey, awesome, awesome. Okay, cool. So this is redirecting. I just want to make sure that we are live. Here we go.
Wow, that's cool.
Okay. Hold on, Prakash, because this is.
It looks like I'm frozen.
Let me turn this. There we go. All right. Oh, you're frozen. Oh goodness. I can hear you.
Yeah, you know what? I think my internet was just sort of in and out there, but it seems okay now.
Okay, you're still frozen on my end, but I can hear you just perfect.
You know what? I'm logged into YouTube or yeah, and I can see that I'm frozen over there. But when I look at our meeting, I can see my video. So what's the deal with
Hmm.
that?
I don't know. Do you think it's too
Can
much
you
if you're
see?
on the YouTube live, or if you're on your YouTube and
So
on
let me
Zoom?
close that window then. Okay,
Okay.
there. I'll close it. How's that? Am I working now?
Not on my end yet. So hold on. Let's see.
Sure.
Let's see. Nope. At least you're smiling
Hmm. I
on
can.
my
I
end.
can. Yeah, I can
You
see
see
my
me?
video, and it looks like I can see you
Uh,
just fine.
so weird. I don't know what's going
Yeah.
on. Hey guys, we are on our Acorn Life Mastery Community YouTube channel, and we are going to go live here in just a few minutes. We're trying to get our technology to be nice to us tonight. Let's see. Well, yeah, because when I'm looking at YouTube, it's still showing frozen on that side. Shoot, how are we gonna
Do you
fix
want
it,
to start
Prakash?
again? Do you want to
Um,
start again? You want to? Do you want to? We can quit this meeting and we can start again. Would that work or?
do you want to pop out and pop back in?
Sure. You want me to
Okay,
try?
sure.
Okay.
Okay. Just give us a few minutes, guys, to get this going. We are waiting for Prakash to get back on, so he'll be here momentarily. Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Hi there.
Is that
Yeah,
better?
that's better. I can see ya.
Wonderful.
All
Wonderful.
right. Okay. Well, we'll get started. So, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Thank you, Prakash, for being here and allowing me this time to interview you. And I want to hear about all your goals and plans and vision that you have for your future. This interview is for founding members for Acorn Life Mastery community, and Prakash and I are both founding members, and we love our community so much,
Hmm.
and we have great big goals and visions that we want to see come to fruition. And I think I could speak for the both of us where we want to help others obtain
We
their
sure do.
goals and their vision as well.
Sure do.
So okay, Prakash, well, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, sure. I live in an area of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. It's called the Upper Beaches. Absolutely love it here. I work from home now. I used to be within, like a 10-15 minute commute to where I used to work. I work in the accounting department of a real estate investment and development company. So because of this COVID thing, we're all working from home now. And it was kind of hard at first, I kind of liked the people at work and kind of missed going to work, believe it or not, because I only had a short commute. So unlike some other people that are really happy about working from home, but I've gotten used to it. And my cats, one of them passed recently, unfortunately, but both my cats loved me being home, and the one that's left, she loves me being home. So it's working out real good. As far as joining, can I talk about joining Acorn?
Yeah,
Okay,
yes.
okay, sure, sure. So I'll give you a little bit of history. About 2 years ago, I sold my house, and the house tripled in value. And so after we paid the mortgage, that left a little bit of money for investment. And so now I've got a salary, plus I've got some investment money coming in. So life is much better than it was, in the past, where it was only the salary that you had to work with. Whereas now I've got salary, plus I've got investment money coming in. So I've been able to do some things that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to do. For example, last year I went to Date with Destiny in Florida. uh, that was December of 2019. And then right after that, I went to Las Vegas for the LifeWorks University Convention.
Hmm.
So, there's no question in my mind that, having extra money is necessary if you want to live your life a certain way.
Hmm.
Yeah. So one of my passions is tennis. This summer, it started off a little slow just because of COVID, but once the restrictions got lifted, then I was out there playing tennis just about every other day. We had a great summer here, and really, really enjoyed myself playing tennis. Uh, and as far as joining Acorn goes, what happened was after I sold my house, I I had an energy session with an energy healer, a healing session,
Hmm.
and I
Hmm.
really liked this woman, and so I engaged her to be a life coach for a few months.
Hmm.
And what happened was, I was kind of scrambling to figure out what I'd done because we were meeting once a month. And then what I did was I created what I called a task list, or a master task list. And I did it in Google Sheets
Hmm.
because then I was able to share it with her.
Mm.
And then, then I got used to having, like a master to-do list, and where I could keep everything. And then after, after she and I parted company, then there's a group here in Toronto. It's called the Toronto Power Group. And a graduate of a Tony Robbins event, he's the one who actually started that.
Mhm,
And so they wanted to start mastermind groups over there, and they did.
mhm,
And so I joined a mastermind group with the power group, but the leader of the group and I, we didn't, things were going all right for a while, but the two of us did not agree on how to run a mastermind group. And
mhm,
so my idea of a mastermind group is much more like the way LifeWorks University ran it, as well as Acorn
mhm.
Life Mastery runs it, where she had this idea that you're supposed to invite speakers and coaches and so on. And I said, no, that's
Oh,
yeah, that's not how a mastermind group works. The whole
yeah.
the whole idea is that we share our goals, and we share our achievements and our challenges, and we get the input of the group, because typically a group will have a diverse number of individuals, people who come from different professions, people who are different ages, different backgrounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they quite often, when you have another pair of eyeballs looking at a situation, or even multiple pairs of eyeballs, you can get a lot of good feedback anytime you're having challenges. So
I
then go ahead.
I was gonna say I love that about the mastermind principle because
Yeah,
I get the same thing. And like Napoleon Hill talks about in his book Think and Go Rich, that when two or more are gathered
yeah,
in a spirit of peace and harmony, then there the mastermind shows up, right? And it's almost like you talk about a little bit about energy and that giving and the receiving. We have to be open for that, to give and then also receive. It's sometimes it's a
absolutely.
challenge for people.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Well, so what happened at one of the monthly events that the Toronto Power Group used to have is Phil Hoy showed up.
Oh,
And so he
yeah.
talked to me about LifeWorks, and then shortly after that, I joined. And then when I discovered that this was a great organization, then I left the mastermind, the Toronto Power Group mastermind, and I was fully engaged with LifeWorks. And then when
Mm,
LifeWorks came to an end, fortunately, there was enough of us that wanted to keep something going, that we formed Acorn Life Mastery.
mhm.
And now we're still not doing all the things that we're going to do,
Oh, yeah.
with live book studies and courses, e-courses, and so on, but that's coming.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm looking forward to leading some book studies myself. I
Yeah.
recommended a couple of books to the group. One of the most life-changing books I ever read was called The Five Choices
Mm,
by Corey Kogon,
mhm.
Kogon, and that's it. That book talks about the master task list, actually. Uh,
Okay. So is
yeah,
that where
yeah.
you got that from when you were working with the energy healer?
No, actually, I did that on my own. It
Oh,
just,
okay.
yeah, because I had to come up with a solution so that I wouldn't have to be scrambling, to
Mhm.
tell her what I'd accomplished and also what I kind of needed help with.
Mhm.
And so by creating that list, which is kind of, it's kind of interesting, because my place of work, we are a Google shop,
Mhm.
and we collaborate on everything. We
Mhm.
collaborate on, well, it's mostly Google Sheets.
Mhm.
We use a huge number of Google Sheets. So for whatever reason, it just never occurred to me to do
To make
that
a
with,
list.
yeah, with her, to create
Yeah.
something that I could collaborate with her on. And what I've done is I've actually done this for my son now. My son
Mhm.
actually has a task list, and so once a week I coach my son,
Mhm.
and we have a look at his list together.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah, and it
yeah,
helps you to keep yourself accountable, especially when you're checking
yeah.
in with that gal and you have this list of things to do. You can say, "Well, listen, I got all these things done, but I still have these things," and it kind of acts as an open dialogue for the both of you on how you've achieved some goals, and then maybe if you needed help with those other things.
Absolutely. And the one thing that I did not do with her, that I started doing with the Toronto Power Group mastermind group, was this whole idea of wins and commitments.
Mm,
And that has carried on in with the Acorn group. And what I like about that, another fabulous book that I read many years ago was The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen
mhm,
Covey.
mhm,
And Covey talks about the week as being, the ideal unit of time with which to manage your life. And
mhm,
so, what I do now is, every Sunday morning, I sit down in front of my computer, and I recreate the activities, because a lot of the stuff that you do during the week is repetitive. So
mhm.
you'll be doing it for the following week as well.
Right.
And then what I do is I just delete the stuff I've already done, and I also, like, if there's new stuff coming up, I add that.
Mhm,
And then on a daily basis, before you go to bed, you take a look at what you have to accomplish the day after. And
mhm,
one of the things that we have with our mastermind group, and I've done this also in Google, I actually created a Google Doc. And in my Google Doc, I have my commitments. I have a table, and
mhm,
I have three columns. I have, the first column is the areas of priority, and the second column is my commitments in each
mhm.
area of priority, and my third column is where I put my wins.
Nice.
And then what I can do is I can just copy and paste that into,
Mhm,
we're still using a Facebook group at the moment,
mhm,
but so I think we're going to be transitioning to the Acorn Life Mastery website or
mhm,
platform,
mhm.
and then we'll be posting our wins and commitments, as we did before, with LifeWorks.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that, yeah, it's ideal, because what the whole thing here is that there is, like, you talked about accountability, but there's also, like, on your own part, you set some expectations, and that you want to get some things done. You want to, there's an element of nicely bragging about your accomplishments to your team
mhm.
members. And I've noticed, like, with the other members of my group, I've noticed kind of like a rise in,
Yeah.
yeah, and everybody's wins as well as everybody's commitments. it's
Yeah.
it's it's addictive, is what it is.
It really is, but I'd rather be addicted to that than anything
Yeah.
else, right? And
Yes.
it brings you joy in your heart, especially when your other mastermind team members accomplish what they set out to accomplish, and then you get that inner joy when you've actually mastered what you were going
Yeah.
after. And
Yeah.
because of the system that we use, I have mastered so much in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
I think that without the mastermind principle and without being accountable really to myself and to others too, but I really hold myself accountable. And so it's nice because I don't I honestly know for a fact that I would not have been able to accomplish all of those things without using a system and without having a
Yeah.
mastermind to keep me going, because
Yeah.
we keep our vibrations high, we keep the energy high,
Yeah.
and it's exciting. It's like we always look forward to the next week. And it keeps us, like you said, it keeps us accountable, even if, we have off days sometimes, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
some days you're just like, oh gosh, I don't know how I'm going to get all this stuff done, or
Yeah.
I just don't feel like it today, or whatever, right? But it's okay. You just get back on there again. And usually by that next week, you've already accomplished everything. I always give myself a week to accomplish things, but I usually do it the next day or even that night while I'm doing it, because I'm in that mindset and I just want to get it done.
Wow.
And so by that next week, I'm like, oh, I've already done all those things. So now then I'm starting my new list for the next thing.
Okay. Good for you.
Um, so you kind of talked a little bit about why you decided to become a founding member, because you love that community that we were in
Yes.
prior, and you wanted to keep that momentum going because it was really
Yes.
working for you,
Yeah.
as for me as well. And so one of the things that we it's a new practice when we're asking people to come and join, is we ask them to do a why exercise, so a 7 why exercise. What was your experience in doing that exercise?
I think that it just forces you to dig really deep.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, you say you want to do something, but you don't necessarily know why you want to do it.
Uh-huh.
And I think one of the things with me, like when I went to Date with Destiny
Mm-hmm.
in Florida, like the 7 whys exercise kind of reminded me of a lot of the stuff we did at Date with Destiny, because
Mm-hmm.
you're digging really deep, you're going really deep.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, one of the things that, like I have a sister and a brother, and we're different in terms of our roots, and how we see our roots and what we want to do with our roots and so on. So uh, what I learned at Date with Destiny is this business of connection, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and so this is the 7 why exercise. It does the same thing, you will probably discover in there. I don't know if other people have found that or not, but for me it was, connection is so important.
Mm-hmm.
It's like with connection, at different levels and with different people.
Yeah.
So for example, I have a certain connection with the people in Acorn Life Mastery, and I
Yeah.
have another connection with people who have ancestors from the same part of the world as I do.
Yeah.
So this connection is extremely important, and I couldn't really articulate it until
Mm-hmm.
I'd been to Date with Destiny, and then I saw it again with the 7 whys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, very
Digging
powerful
deep.
exercise.
Yeah, I love that exercise. Very insightful.
Yeah,
And it does make you dig in deeper and deeper. And
yeah.
then when you think you can't dig in any deeper, it's like, well, dig a little deeper. Okay. All right. So what was your impression with the mastermind prep, and then also with our PDCA process, so that plan, do, check, and adjust? How are you liking that? How's that working for you so far?
Well, I actually have a degree in industrial engineering, and
Mm-hmm.
so that kind of methodology is kind of what I've always done in the
Okay.
work in the workplace.
Yeah.
So to bring it to your personal life adds a rigor to your personal life that you might not have had, or you might not have thought to bring to your personal life. And I don't want to, I don't want anybody to think that your personal life should be like your business life, and
Right.
it's not that way. What
Right.
I'm talking about, a certain rigor, just in terms of goal accomplishment, for example.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Well,
want to
I
accomplish. Go
Oh,
ahead.
I'm sorry, Prakash. I was going to say, while you're talking, it reminds me of what Outwitting the Devil when they're talking about drifting. And so, like, we go to
Yes.
work and we have all these goals, and
Yes.
we set goals within the workplace. But then in
Yes.
our personal life, we're not taught that. We're not taught to go after bigger dreams. We're just taught, okay, what do you want to be when you grow up? And then you go, you do. Sometimes you become that, right? But then it's like, what
Yeah.
else is there? So when you come home, you don't have that PDCA a system. It's kind of like you're drifting, right?
Yes.
So I think for people like us who are into personal development, it's exciting to shift from workplace, and then you can accomplish goals there, but then to come home and to have goals in different areas of your life. So
Yes.
like you said, different relationships, because we're multifaceted. And
Hmm.
so when we're able to attune and tap into other people, even around the world, or different people in our community, or our family, it's just all very different, like you were talking about. And it allows us to grow in so many different ways, that if we just went to work and came home, work and came home, and work and
Yeah.
came home, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
It'd be kind of mundane,
Yes, it would.
and you
Yes,
would
it would.
lose a little bit of that passion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that I noticed is, when I took the financial fitness course earlier in the year, I was pretty good with personal financial management,
Mm-hmm.
but not anywhere near as good as I've become.
Mm.
Because what I've done is I've added, I use the word rigor,
Mm-hmm.
so I've brought the same level of rigor to my personal finances now that I would use for managing. One of the things that I do is, like, I do a couple of different things at work. I do accounts payable, I do accounts receivable, I do a little bit of data analysis. So, the job requires a certain rigor. I can't be paying somebody twice, for example,
Right.
right? And I have to make sure that when somebody sends us rent, I collect it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to keep track of that, because I can't say to somebody, well, you didn't pay rent, when you did pay rent.
Mm-hmm.
So I've brought the same level of rigor to my personal finances, and the way I've done that is I've actually used some of the same tools that we use at work. And so, there's a seamlessness about my work and my personal life when it comes to that
Mm-hmm.
part of it, that makes it so easy for me. So managing my personal finances has become very easy for me now, is because it's just, all the tools are present, and then the way of doing it, like, it's very much like the way I do things at work. There's a certain rigor that we bring to our work, and
Mm-hmm.
I brought that same level of rigor to my personal finances now.
Well, I love that, because we were just talking about bringing in what we do at work to home, and
Mm,
using those same skills to obtain um, how we want to move forward, right? I I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm a caregiver for seniors. I have a caregiving business. And so I'm so good at organizing them, right? But when I come home, it's like, oh, I don't want to organize, right? Because I've been organizing other people's lives
mm.
all day long, and I don't want to come home and organize my own. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Um, so tell me a little bit about what are you currently working on right now? What's your monthly goal that you're working on?
So I'm actually a little behind on my taxes.
Okay.
And so I'm going to, my goal is, and I'm also going through a divorce. So I
Okay.
can't, in order for me to follow through with the divorce, I have to have my taxes done.
Mm-hmm.
So, my lawyer said that, come back when you're up to snuff on your taxes,
Uh-huh.
and then we'll get you there. So, like, I'm 90% of the way done. It's just
Mm-hmm.
that last 10% has been a little elusive. So,
Yeah.
but this is one of the things that my mastermind group is aware of, and I am working on that now. So it's, it's going to get done.
Well, it's
That's
one
it.
of those things that it's like me. I don't want to do that. It's not fun, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but if you just take a 15-minute chunk each
Yes,
day, right? And you just kind of sit down, focus for 15 minutes, you can get so much stuff
yes,
accomplished in just a short amount of time. And I don't think people realize that. They
right,
think you have to do it all at one time. You don't have to do it all at one time. Just check it off, just a little bit. So it's not so overwhelming.
right.
So that's your major goal that you're working on right now.
Yes, it is.
Do you have a goal in mind for in the future when you get all of that completed?
Yes, I do. What One of the things that I've wanted to do is I do want to lead a couple of book studies on the Acorn Life Mastery platform.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so the this book, The Five Choices, it's just been such an influence in my life that I'd like other people to have that kind of system, to
Mm-hmm.
have a system, and whoever decides to take that course, they don't necessarily have to use a Google Sheet. There's lots of to-do list uh, applications on the internet. So
Mm-hmm.
you try them out and you pick something that works for you.
Yeah, I love that. And I know you are always suggesting really great books. I'm not a huge reader, not because I don't like it. It's just I don't find the time to sit down long enough to read a lot. So when I'm in a mastermind book study with a group of people, it holds me accountable because you know what will happen is I get a book and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so great. And I'll read a chapter or two and then I put it down. And then it's hard for me to go back to
Really?
finish it to the
Okay.
end. It's really hard. It's really tough. So I'm just saying for myself, when we're in these masterminds, then it keeps me accountable. And then I it's not so overwhelming. It's more like,
Yeah.
okay, I just take one chapter at a week. Each week I take one chapter, do that chapter, and then we talk about it and then go on to the next chapter. So it's so important for me to be a part of those book studies so
Yeah.
that I can finish the book.
Mhm.
Well, that's how I got through a lot of books doing that. Okay, so we kind of talked about your monthly goal, why it's important to you. You need to have that done so that you can go through that whole process of your separation, and then also the book studies. I think those are going to
Yes.
be great. Are
Yes.
you also going to be offering a course, or are you just going to do the book studies?
You know what? I haven't decided. I would like to do a course, so I'm not exactly sure what the platform offers.
Hmm.
I think I wasn't sure if the courses were going to be done, a little more statically than maybe I had wanted them to be. So
Hmm.
it kind of depends on what the platform can offer.
Hmm.
Because I don't know that our platform can offer the same kind of thing that Udemy offers, for example.
Hmm.
So it's important that the platform have certain features
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
order for a course to have the most value.
Yeah, yeah,
But I
definitely.
can tell you that like when you lead a book study, like I did, I did the Master Key System.
Hmm.
I was part of that book study, and
Yeah.
I was also part of the Think and Grow Rich book study as well.
Hmm.
And I'd like to talk about that for a minute, if that's all right.
Yeah, yeah.
The Think and Grow Rich. I think one of the things that I really benefited from when we were with LifeWorks is the Life Mastery system.
Hmm.
Now that was a paper-based system. So what I did was I created that. I've gone through several iterations of it, and so I finally settled on a Google Sheet, a Google Slides version of it. So Napoleon Hill has three things he wants you to do. One of them is to create a definite chief aim,
Hmm.
which I've done.
Hmm.
And he asks you to review that in the morning when you wake up, and at night before you go to bed.
Hmm.
And there's also a certain emotion that you have to bring into that.
Hmm.
And so like I've gotten kind of used to that now. And it's like I look forward to doing the definite chief aim exercise in the morning and in the evening.
Hmm.
And the other two things that he suggested, they're kind of related. One of them is to spend 10 minutes a day on developing self-confidence,
Hmm.
and the other thing is to spend 30 minutes a day on concentrating on the person that you want to become.
Mm.
Now, these things, like you'll notice that he's not necessarily all that specific about what it is you should do during that time. So
Yeah.
one of the things that I do now, and I wasn't doing it when I first, because I think it was kind of like my mind was looking for ideas, and so when we did Date with Destiny, Tony Robbins has an affirmation that he did with us, and it's called "I am the voice." And
Okay.
if you're not familiar with it, then you can have a look on the internet. And so what I've done is I've actually, there's a YouTube video. It's about 5 minutes long, And it's really great, because in the mornings, what I do is I do these three things successively. So I'll review my definite chief aim. Then
Mhm,
I'll do the 10 minutes of self-confidence, and I'll stand when I do it. So I do the affirmation standing
mhm,
with the Tony Robbins video. And so what you've got is it's all the people who are attending Date with Destiny,
mhm,
and he does it with the whole group. So there's, even though it's a video, there's still an energy there that is very uplifting. And so what I
mhm,
find at the end of the 5 minutes is, like I'm feeling really good. It's just a fantastic way to start the day. And one of the things that I also feel about self-confidence is that if I'm doing certain things, like if I'm looking at my to-dos for tomorrow before I go to bed,
mhm,
that's a way of having self-confidence,
mhm,
because you're living up to what you said you would do every
mhm,
day, and
mhm,
you're also planning what you're going to, like, you're bringing, what you're doing is you're bringing the future into the present by
mhm,
doing that.
mhm.
You're creating your future. You're not letting the future create you. You're creating your future.
When you're
But
also not forgetting what needs to be done.
absolutely.
I don't know if you could relate to this, but I remember I'd lay in bed at night and I would say, "Oh, I can't forget to do this tomorrow." This is before I had a system, right? And I said, I can't forget, I can't forget." And I'm like, "Oh, it's so important. I'm not going to forget." But I was so tired to get up and write it, so I would
Mm,
just say, "I'm going to remember." Well, guess what? I'd wake up and think, "What was that I was so important that I had to do
mm,
today?" And I couldn't recall it until later. But so when you get that, it's so important to write it down right away so you
yes,
don't lose it.
sure.
Um, and that's another huge success, that or to help you get to your successes for the next day. It
Absolutely.
helped me because I'm in charge of so many people's lives. Sometimes I have to make doctor's appointments or just whatever. My
Okay.
day-to-day stuff is not the same every day. It is constantly changing. I have to
Okay.
be in this state, uh I have to be flexible every day because I
Okay.
never know what I'm going to walk into at work. So, anyways, so if I have to remember little things, I have to write it down right away, and that's why I love that system. And I know a lot of people like the Google Sheets, but
Yeah.
I'm in the field. I'm not always on my computer, so I like to have a pen and paper.
Sure. Sure.
And Pamela makes fun of me because she's like, "What? Just do it on the computer." I said, "I'm not always in front of my computer. I'm at work, and I'm helping clients, several hours a day. So not always right in front of my computer." So
Right.
so I want to tell people, like, it is okay to do pen and paper,
Sure.
um, because that's the way my brain works. I have to like see it, speak it, do it. I have to
Yeah.
be able to
Yeah.
use all my five senses.
You know what? I journal every day, and what I do is I actually use Google Calendar to pretty much capture my life.
Hmm.
And so the journal is more of a therapeutic thing. I
Hmm.
like to wake up in the morning and I like to review the events of the previous day.
Hmm.
So it's a reflection activity.
Hmm.
And when I'm done with the journal, what I do is I just I reconcile it with Google Calendar, make
Hmm.
sure that everything that is in the journal is also in Google Calendar, so that it's so easy for me to look. If I want to know when I did something, or it's so easy for me to, and I've set it up because you've got Google search, right? So you can
Hmm.
search stuff in Google Calendar if you record it a certain way.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. All these.
Technology can be our best friend, huh?
Absolutely. And as far as my master task list goes, I've got a column for notes. And so, anytime I need to say something more about a
Hmm.
particular task, I can do that. And I can go back,
Yeah.
like if I need to refer to something I did 6 months ago, I can
Yeah.
do it.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Prakash, you were talking about the third item that Napoleon Hill talks about, is that feeling. For our viewers that maybe have never even read Think and Grow Rich before, can you talk a little bit about what that feeling is?
So I actually didn't mention the third item. I'm glad you asked. So the third item is this business of concentrating on the person that you want to become.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I talked about that being vague. If if you haven't got something concrete, like if you haven't got something in writing, or if you don't have a picture, then that's going to be very, very difficult for you.
Mhm.
And so what I've actually done is I've actually created, it's kind of like a combination vision board, as well as, goals. And
Mhm.
so what I've done is I've created a Google Slides document. And in that Google slide, and again, like I've borrowed from Tony Robbins here. And Tony Robbins has this life mastery pyramid that he
Mhm.
uses. And
Mhm.
so what I've done is it's very similar to the life mastery system, in that the areas of priority are what you use to decide what you're going to accomplish in
Mhm.
each of those areas.
Mhm.
And so what you can do is you can actually use a textual uh, description of that, and you can also have a picture. And that's what I've done. So I've got pictures, like, for example, like physically, I
Mhm.
have a goal for where I want to be 3 months from now physically.
Nice. Okay.
And 3 months, I've kind of noticed that, like a quarter is just an excellent unit of time,
Uh-huh.
because it's not like a year. For a lot of people, including me, a year is just like, it seems like really far away,
Mhm.
and it kind of leaves you swimming. But a
Mhm.
quarter is a very, like, it's like a compressed year. And
Mhm.
so if you think about accomplishing certain things in a quarter, then it feels much more doable. And so even
I
if you've
think
got
so
a
too.
yeah, even if you've got a year-long goal, you can break that year-long goal down into quarters. So what are you going to accomplish? Like 2021 is coming up. So
Mhm.
what are you going to accomplish in the first quarter? What are you going to accomplish
Mhm.
in the second quarter, third quarter, the fourth quarter?
Mhm.
I've actually, what I do is I get a bank calendar every year,
Mhm.
and I
Mhm.
rip out quarters.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So for example, when 2020 rolls around, I'll actually do it sooner, because I like to have two quarters up at any one time. So
Mhm.
uh, I'll leave the last quarter of 2020 up, and I'll put the first quarter of 2021 up,
Mhm.
and I have the entire quarter in view, which I like.
Nice.
Yeah. And so the physical thing. I've got a picture of a man, and he's my age, and he's extremely fit. He's extremely fit.
Mhm.
He's got a gorgeous body, and you don't get a body like that without work. And
Mhm.
it's clearly, this guy is working out several times a week, and he also knows what he's doing, because when I was younger, I used to work out, and I was. I had a nice upper body, but I never did any leg work, so I had stick
Mhm.
legs.
Mhm. Mhm.
And like I won't do that now. Now
Mhm.
I'll be very conscious of working out my whole body, not just the upper body.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I
So
think a lot of times people think that for men, it's like,
yeah.
doing the biceps and the chest and the pecs and all that. So that's what people see. They do
Mhm.
ignore their bottoms, don't they?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Well, what else would you like to share with our viewers? Is there any last comments or?
Yeah. You know what? I think it's very, very important that, like, what I've done is, I've taken Think and Grow Rich,
Mhm.
and I've done stuff with it that I actually read the book many, many years ago. I read the
Mhm.
book back in the 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, a long time ago. And
Yeah.
then, but very recently, and I also want our viewers to understand that any methodology, you can bring your ideas to it. You can tweak
Mhm.
it, and you can evolve it, as I've done. Because when I learned about it, then it was put forward or presented as something manual or paper based. And
Mhm.
then I translated that, I made it into something digital. And then, as I found things that didn't work and things that did work, I evolved it. And so now I've got a system, which is online, and it's the easiest thing in the world to do in the mornings. Like, I
Mhm.
start work at 9 o'clock in the morning,
Mhm.
and in order for me to do the Think and Grow Rich method, to put the Think and Grow Rich methodology into practice, I have to be at my computer by about 10 after 8.
Mhm.
And so I'm at my computer at 10 after 8, and I do those three things that I told you about.
Mhm.
And that in itself, that's three wins right there, three big wins every single day.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know who Robin Sharma is, but Robin Sharma he uses the word micro wins.
Okay.
Yeah, and so like I've even kept like the taking of supplements in my to-do list.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
so what's happened for me is that this past week has been a major milestone for me because I hit 3,000 micro wins this past week.
Nice.
You
That's
know,
awesome.
and I had a look at last year's to-do list, and it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't even 2,000 at this time last year.
Uh-huh.
Now I'm adding stuff to my list, so I imagine that by this time next year, I'm probably going to hit 4,000 micro wins.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
Yeah.
talking about micro wins is like health and fitness, right? And one of
Yes.
the things that we want to do is like drinking water. Like
Yes.
prior to this having my system, I did not get enough water intake, and now I am. And
Okay.
that's a little micro win for me because that was
Good
something I
stuff.
challenged with. It was
Okay.
challenging for me.
Okay.
So I love that, Prakash. And I thank you so much for being here and taking the time to talk to our audience and being a founding member with all of us and helping us, bring that vision of helping more people and developing leaders, right? That's our whole
Yes.
plan here. So I just want to remind our listeners to like and subscribe YouTube channel. If you click on the notifications so you can see when we're going live, and then also share our channel. And please, Prakash, once this is done, please share this on your page or any pages that you would like to share it on, or friends and family. Let them see your beautiful face and all your plans that you have going on. And so we just thank you so much for being here. Now, this is my first live on YouTube, so I'm going to see how do we stop the live. We're working together. Let me just see. Let's see. Oh, here we are. Here we go. Thank you guys, everybody. Thank you for being here. And we'll see you, I believe next Friday, we'll have another